Hello and welcome to Rambling Weekly, the 110th episode. Woo! How's it going? Sorry I missed last week. I was a little tuckered out. Truthfully, I've been kind of tuckered out for the last couple months. I don't know. Part of it, I think, has been. Before I get into that, hope you're doing well. Hope everything's going all right. Part of it's been that I've like you try to set a routine for yourself, and then you start to the routine starts to go off the rails a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's you start drifting into it. For example, I drive a lot for work, so I try to make sure I get a decent amount of sleep and be like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. Just hard line, okay, I feel sleepy, I'm going to go to bed, and then whatnot. Well, that is done. As it had turned me into going to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock or something, and then I'd be getting up at around 6 and I'd be rested, but I'd just be like, but then by the time 7:30 or so hits, I'm like, ugh. So what I've been trying to do now is to, unless it's because I can kind of get an idea of the next day, what it might look like for work. So unless it's really really crazy, I'm trying to just push past it a little bit and go, okay, let's and that seems to help. And I don't know what else is going on with that. Gotta get back into some sort of workout routine, or I know I've switched my diet a little bit to be a little more healthy. As I say this as I am intent on buying some pizza today, because I haven't had pizza in a while. I hunger for the pizza, but it's I don't know. Something that one thing to note, I have mostly got the part 6 stuff for genealogy recorded and everything. Truthfully, all I have to really do, knock on wood, is to record something like this at the end, talking about stuff for what I want to do with it. And yeah, so I that was one of the things I was putting that together. I was like, yeah, let's just stay up and do it. And there's no reason for me to go to bed at 8:30 and be like, oh, hashoo, and wake up and then not do it. Partly also, I've gotten into this habit where I'm like, hey, I gotta do the, for writing and stuff. It's been a bit of a slog, not because of being oh, I don't know what I'm doing, or oh, I'm not liking how it's panning out or anything. In fact, there's times where I'm really happy and excited to get into the writing for it. But the thing is when it comes to the weekdays, when I get back from work, what I had been trying to train myself to do is okay, get back from work, take a little bit of a break, and then jump into it. And that doesn't work for me. What happens is I'll take a little bit of a break and I'll be like, okay, and then a couple hours later I'm I'm going to bed. So now the idea is, outside of maybe cooking something for myself for dinner or what have you, is to kind of get back, knock off a little bit of crust from work and stuff. Not necessarily I'll do it, but then boom, I'll play an album of something that I know I can have on while listening to it. Maybe something like some doujinshi stuff, and play that, and then once that album goes through, I can at least be like, okay, I've done that. And then usually it's enough to want to try to get a little bit more. Sometimes things come up and will deter me from being able to put more out there, or put more pen to paper, because I am one of the maniacs that does that. Because I cannot try to write something and type it out. Doesn't work for me. It does not work for me whatsoever. bit of a drawback because it kind of makes things a little bit slower. So that's the unfortunate thing about that. Um, so yeah, I've got that. Been doing that. Um, haven't played as much as 12 of Final Fantasy 12. I haven't given up on it or anything, but it's very last week or so has been not much to it. And then, in fact, I've actually leaned. I think I might have mentioned it last time. Leaned more into playing more of the dreaded Morrowind. I am pretty bent on getting through the game this time with this character. I'm still really early into its main quest wise, and I think and I'm not one to. It's not that it's exploiting because you can do it. In that way, it's something you can do if you know how to quote unquote work the system. I am just too. I don't want to put it. I don't know. I don't have a good word for it because I don't want to say simple. Maybe it's like simple-minded about it. It's like okay, I won't, do too much to try to manipulate things to be like I have 1,200 intelligence or something like that. Let me break the game wide open with alchemy and whatnot. So I'm just kind of playing as just like a ranger sort of character in a way. It's got a little bit of magic, a little bit of I don't know, like rangers do they have a lot of like attacking magic and stuff? I labeled it as like a dark blade, but it doesn't. I've been trying to do some of the sneaky stuff with it, just because I know that the sneaky mechanics are like not the greatest. They are a little dicey in that game, but it is fun to go around with like stupid little ninja stars and throwing them at people and stuff. But yeah, so I've been doing that. Let's see, what else has been going on? I have he has not been mentioned on the channel in a little bit. I've mentioned the name, but I guess he was on the channel at one point during a podcast in the ancient days of yore. But Anzi, he back at the beginning of the year was like, I'm such a goober. I have all these books and I haven't read through them. So I've been needling him, be like, hey, I'm gonna read a book a month. Try to keep up. I don't know if he's keeping up, but just to try to, like, I don't know, see if that will help get the ball rolling for him. And I read the As You Wish book done by Carrie Yules with I can't remember who else helped with that, Joe something. But I just like documenting and talking about it as time behind the scenes for Princess Bride and whatnot. Easy read, easy way to start off the year. And so for this month I've picked up this one here, What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains. I guess it should be maybe the Shallows, What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains, by Nicholas Carr. So I have absolutely no idea about it, but I was like, sure, it was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize, so that means something, right? So I have I haven't started yet, but that's the book I'm trying to read through this year. That, and also on my Comfy Corner Discord channel, where there's a few of us hanging about. What's the thinking of Anzi, because he was the one, he and I were, did it for each other, and then he springboard off of that to include and incorporate other people in the ancient days of Peace Game Room Forum, to do the Gentleman's Challenge and whatnot. and he yeah, and so it kind of spun from there, and I know people have continued doing iterations of it. My Discord, Sushi, he's a little more active in there. Not like super active, but he comes in. He says things every now and again. He's prodded along to continue doing that, and we're doing it this month, which is probably a good month for it, because you get that square 4 weeks to do that, and it is we call it the People of Lordly Caliber, which is the kind of touching off of ogre battle. I think one of the ogre battle titles is that. I think so. It's been forever. Ogre battle. I can't type with one hand. And I can't type with 2 hands either, it seems. Person of Lordly Caliber. Yeah. I thought so. Yeah, it was the 64 game. Okay. Gracious. Oh, but yeah, so we were doing that, and I have been, from the games that I chose, I've been tasked with playing through Omicron, the Nomad Soul, and I already have concerns. I played about an hour of it, 45 minutes to an hour yesterday, and the fighting sucks. Or I'm not good at the fighting, I should say. It's I don't know if it gets better, or if you have to learn the inputs in game before you can learn like moves. I don't think so, because I was doing some sort of ridiculous helicopter spinning kick sort of thing. Not like, you or anything like that, but just kind of like a up high, down low spin sort of thing. I don't know what they call that. Some sort of kick. But yeah. Was not the simulation fights. They were not impressed, and they in the medium level beat my ass. So they're not looking good for Kale there. But hopefully I can right the ship on that front, because I'm aware of it. I don't remember. I know I had watched something about it. I don't know who did a review on it eons ago. And just the idea of the character, like the character can die, and so, but instead of dying and game overing, which I think only happens in certain instances, the character that you are possessing souls and stuff. It's right from the beginning. It's like, hey, you're going to be imbuing yourself into other people to help with things in this parallel world. But I think it's up to like 30 characters or something ridiculous. You have a lot of chances not to muck it up. I'm afraid I'm going to muck it up a lot. So, yeah, but it is very. I mean, I know the game came out in '99, so it's like a Quantic Dreams David Cage. So every time I start playing, I just want to go, Jason. Just I can't. Oh, heavy rain. Oh boy. that was a game-ish sort of thing. If I remember correctly, the most interesting or exciting moment I had with the game was during a point where you're driving in the wrong side of traffic for a certain reason, and I accidentally knocked the controller out of my hand. So excited, and I had to get it before the next prompt. That was about I was not a fan of heavy rain really too much, but it could have been a lot worse. But I don't know. It just but we'll see how this goes, because I can't remember what the other one, because I think this is Cage's first game, like being the lead for, or like the director for, or something. I think Fahrenheit was another one that I was interested in, and I think that was the second one that came out. Fahrenheit kind of gives me like less spooky not Silent Hill, but Parasite Eve vibes. Kind of Silent Hill, I guess, in a way, with at least the first one, with the snow and stuff. But it's got there's something about it, you can just kind of sense it. And then this Omicron game kind of gives me similar with like just this is some like this is a product of its time, but not necessarily in a bad way. Like just the game feel, the just the little bit of the crust, the aughts / late 90s crust of a 3D, especially like a PS2 era sort of thing. You can feel that. But yeah, and then David Bowie's got some music in it, so can't go wrong with that. I'm not like a David Bowie fan, but I'm not really a hater. It's more just like, okay, I'm just not like, I like some of the tunes, basically the ones that are really, really popular that people know, but I've never really gotten too invested in listening to the albums. Like I think there's one that I listened to, but didn't make enough of a mark to really impress me. And I don't mean like, oh, he's not very good. It's just like leave an impression, impress kind of thing. So yeah. What else has been going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I think that's really about it there. So, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think that's about the extent of it. Got that. Talked about the Fire Emblem thing, do the writing, yeah, okay. So, that's it for updates. Into the topic. So yeah, Clarion Call. I wanted to talk a little bit about this. So what is a Clarion Call? We're going to go into giving a dictionary form of it, because that's an easy way to start. And we'll just do the Merriam-Webster. Clarion Call, noun, a strong request for something to happen. I don't know. I guess it's just kind of like usually a singular thing. Okay, but yeah, we have a lot of trumpets at our disposal to become a town crier, so to say, and to shout, to be like, hey, do this, while this is kind of stemming off of previous thoughts that I've had about things, where it's like you can I say I'll do this, like I will lose 20 pounds, and then when you say I will lose 20 pounds, your brain kind of makes a little not necessarily a notch to be like, hey, remember this, but it's more like, oh, you've recognized something that you need to do. Here's some things to... No, we don't want to do that. That's work. No. I'm good. We're good. And so it just tries to trick you into being like, yeah, we're good. Don't even bother with it. And so there's that element there, because there is a lot of this, and especially now that we are in the early year of 2025 with all sorts of political craziness and cultural craziness, I guess, in a way. You got a lot of people not only making these calls for this and that and whatnot, but it is when you're for somebody like me, when you're hearing all this, it's kind of like, how do people have time for something like this? And there's certainly like there's a when everything is listed as like this is of utmost importance. This is this is dire. This is dire. Everything is a dire concern. I think what happens then is that there's just kind of this logjam effect, and almost like that. What's that? Paralysis by overanalysis, or just as some say about themselves, that they don't have good executive function. What's a executive choice functionality? They can't make the choices. They get just paralyzed, and so they just sort of regress and do nothing. And just be like, ugh. I really think that it's like trying to tether supports for things really long distance. In some ways, it is easier, say with, and I say that it's easier, but it's only easier for things that are widely known or widely, or people are widely okay with. Somebody like, I think, if I remember correctly, I heard something about Wes Johnson, who's the Sheogorath in he's did a lot of different voices. Oh, he was the sports announcer in Hearts at Atlantis. Interesting. Okay, anyways, and he was in Unsolved Mysteries as Richard in Series 8, Episode 18. Dun, dun, dun. But, yeah, anyways, he was Molag Bal, Boethia, Malakath in Morrowind. But the ones that I think people really know him for is Sheogorath in Oblivion. And then also in Skyrim, and he's done a bunch of other parts in those games and stuff. But he, for example, he got sick, and there was something, he had suffered a medical emergency in Georgia, to host a benefit for the National Alzheimer's Association. Hospitalized in Atlanta in the ICU. After being found unresponsive in his hotel room. It was reported on, this happened within a week or so, and then it was reported on the 31st that he had recovered from an induced coma and had been released. And so there was I can never remember the names of these things, like a GoFundMe sort of thing in the medical sense, that people were able to put together, and I think he like tripled the amount they were asking for it and stuff. But like that's a very far leap to make, right? Because it's, people who are doing that. Who's doing that? Who's helping donate? Are they fans? Are they more so kind of business colleagues? What's going on? So there's a lot of just kind of big questions marks on it. But I've seen signs all throughout where I'm driving and stuff, of one in particular, but also of a couple of them, of a guy needing a kidney donation, like a kidney transplant, and putting up signs asking people to keep that in mind, and to reach out if there's anything that they can do. But like, how are they helping that? Like, that's they're making that clarion call for that help in a way. A little harder with something like that, because unless there's an accident that the person in the accident and the recipient are able to share like blood types and stuff. It's not you can go around testing them and then trying to cut out their kidneys, or you can give some sort of money to help with, like, what is that, dialysis, and stuff like that. So, and that's local, but local in a regional sense, in a smaller regional sense, because these are places that are like 45 minutes to an hour from me that I've seen these signs. But you have things like that, and then you have everything that goes on when anything seems to go on. Like somebody, even just in a very generic sense, it's like, oh, I will bravely stand out there and say, I don't like Star Wars. Spoiler alert, never really cared for Star Wars. So, but you say that, and you get people, maybe to a lesser degree, but back in my day, back when I was a wee lad, the big button heads things was either being a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan, which.
Why did you always do that?
Which is kind of unfair because they're different. One is more of a heady, plotty, or plotting, like PLODDING, just kind of thing. Not always, but a lot of times that's what is Star Trek. A little bit more trying to be philosophical and on a, I guess I would say on a societal level, where Star Wars feels more of like a philosophical, but much more at a personal level. But it's also echoing Flash Gordon, space operatic, like almost space high seas adventure. Not quite the vibe of Star Trek. So. You get just different tastes, but there'd be the butting heads, and you would say one, and then it's all of a sudden the daggers are out. I mean, this is you have this as well with freaking, well, there's a big thing for games for a while. I mean, you still get it, but I think it's the I could never escape the ringing of the phone. I think it's inverted in a way nowadays, where it used to be if you said you didn't like something, then it's like, well, then you're being very antagonistic, blah, 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 blah. And there is still some of that, but a very large growing collection of voices, collection of groans are those that are just very down and outs, and hypercritical on stuff, or just critical. I don't even say hypercritical, just critical on stuff. And so then when you say you like something, the daggers come out, and they're like, oh my goodness, how could you like this? Like you have to almost in a way that it's like you have to justify why you like or dislike something to somebody else. And that's, I think, where we start to lose the plot. These calls for things to be like, yes, you have to do this, or you have to do that, or oh, you gotta like this, and then if you don't, you've got to prostrate yourself and explain to the board why it is that you feel this way, so that you can be called wrong and an idiot and stuff. And I don't like it. If you like what you like, okay. I think it's there is a place to like do that, and not even just a place to do that. That's not the right way I want to phrase it. It's there's a time, an environment to do that. That's not it either. That's similar words, but me just trying to redress it. Hey, I guess it's the either obtuseness of some people to not accept that sometimes you're just talking at very different levels, and that's really all it is. And instead of just kind of going, okay, all right, like so bringing up another example of this, like oh, um, good old when Mega Man went 3D before that the X one, what X8 or something before that one, or 7, it might have been X7 that did that. Before that, there was, and before, even though it was just a little not so good, but before Mega Man Soccer, Rockman Soccer, we had it wasn't before that, but not that one. It was after that one. Mega Man Legends, and its hideous box art. And the first one's, how was the first one's box art? I remember the 64s because I played the 64 before playing the PS1 version, and then Mega Man Legends 2. The 64's cover was fine. I mean, you know, you're 12 years old or something. How old was I? I was about 12. Yeah, 11, 12. 11, 12. Somewhere around there. Hey, you know, and it's like, okay, alright, yeah, it's whatever. But I remember that being a game that people were not high on. They did not like it. It was not considered a good, nor classic, nor hidden gem of a game. It was trash. It was garbage. It was not a good time. Strayed too much from the formula that has been squeezed for 20,000 games in 8 years. Yeah, so it might have been. Well, Joe, silliness aside on that, it's the, you know, it finally came around. But I remember, you know, you saying something, oh, you like it, or you know, more recently, how about we not plumb the depths of 20 plus years, but Breath of the Wild, you know, you say something about, I don't really care for Breath of the Wild. When that game first came out, it was like, what? You don't know what you're talking about. And I get it. It is not everybody. The thing is like, I just find it weird that people feel like they have to just, or, well, no, it's not that I find it weird. People are being pressured by so many societal pressures to have to justify what it is that they like or dislike. And as in one hand, it is nice to be like, okay, why do I like this? So I can understand that, and be like, okay, all right, so I understand I like this, and then I can extrapolate that to be like, oh well, you know, let's see what because then it refines the search for other things that you might find interesting, and it might put on blinders for certain things that you might not have thought of, and be like, oh, that's interesting to find there as well. But yeah, so like I can understand why people feel like they have to justify why they like something, and be like, oh well, this is, you know, I got to protect my baby. I got to protect this game that no I mean, it is what it is, and people will come back to it at some point and either like it, like they ended up doing with that, or like something else will come out that might sour your opinion a little bit on it, or at least the formula for it. Like what was that? Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom seemed a little less hurrah and more like, huh, hurrah. I don't know where I'm going with any of this. It's that the but that energy, that same energy is used for like anything and everything that somebody finds important. And not to try to downplay what somebody else finds important, because they are entitled to that. It is when the problem ends up being, though, is that when you run into others who don't agree, and then it starts creating that friction, and that becomes a bit of that's like the crux of the issue, right? So where this friction is. But then in the same hand, who is one person, if you're going from a very utilitarian approach, which is a bit psychotic in certain things. It's more of like the greatest good for the group, even if some must suffer, sort of thing. That's a little bit of a initial okay, and then by the end of it, you're like, it's a little bit of a psychopathic kind of all for the greater good. And that's like overgrowth in something. What's cancer? Cancer is kind of like that, just consistent growth, uninhibited, sort of, kind of continual, I guess you'd say, not in check. But that's also a bit of a problem. But yeah, that friction, because we have the problem of going, hey, this is what I find important, and you got this friction going on. But then people try to, how do I want to put this? Because it's not really healing the friction, but almost like trying to, what do they call it? It's like a split, like a shear split or something. When it's a type of earthquake, when the tectonic plates just kind of doing that. but what in this ridiculous visual, what I'm trying to explain is that we try to justify, then I mentioned this in just the last one I did about the numbers game, about hey, this is more important because so many more people say this, and all I'm looking at, because don't have the under the hood data for all of this fully, I can just look at the views, not the refresh, the retweets, or the likes, the replies. We can justify what it is. Well, if somebody likes versus if there's only 10 likes but 100 comments, that means it's a bad idea because more people said it was. And that is, I know that's some sort of like a logical fallacy, appealing to the numbers kind of thing, but we've primed ourselves for that when we have have a society that goes with in the states of democratic, going through elections. Oh well, this person got more votes, so this is what we're doing. And it's not that they should be given carte blanche to do whatever, but then there's almost a resignation of, well, you failed because of this, so that means you've got to change. And maybe the messaging is wrong, so now you need to change the wording so you can still have the same message, but then you try to go all these different sneaky ways to do it, other than just being upfront and honest, and then going, this is the crap that I think. And then people going, yeah, that's crap. And then, okay, but what's the crap you think? Oh, this is the better stuff. That's the Carlin joke, right? Do you ever realize that your stuff is stuff and their stuff is shit? Kind of, it's that sort of thing. right? But it's going on in an ideas sense, and then being trumpeted about to do this, do that. Um, and I get it. They're trying to do things like fundraisers for people who need help with stuff. Like you got the families of those that were in those accidents just recently, the plane accidents. You have those people, and you've got the individuals, families, and stuff of dealing with all the fires there. There is a lot that goes on, but that's kind of the rules of the game, so to say, of life. It's, when you have so many people and stuff, and it is people cannot answer clarion calls. It's just not, or they can't answer a cornucopia, a plethora, a whole bunch of clarion calls. It's just not feasible. You don't have the energy for it. You don't have the energy for it. You don't have the resources for it. It's like it's like being the one friend that gets saddled with everybody's like emotional baggage or something, and then they don't have anybody to turn to or something, or they're when you try to talk about that instead, what ends up happening is conversation just immediately turns back into, well, I'm gonna one way this sort of thing. And like what was, where did it go? Did I get rid of it? I think I got rid of it. Oh boy, there we go. And like a good old clarion call, it listed in the Webster Dictionary says, for a strong request for something to happen, usually singular. So it's easy when you have it be one, like a single trumpet sending out its tune high above the din, the noise of everything to try to focus. Well, when you have hundreds of thousands of millions of those going off all at once, all it does is make a cacophonous, discordant, I don't know, right? Heck, people don't even like trumpets to begin with. Not everybody. There's some people who like the trumpet sound, but there's a lot of them who don't. And it kind of makes it a little harder when you have all that going on. So, that's what I got for you today. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your day, weekday, weeknights, everything in between. And if you're watching, thanks for watching. I guess the tunes that have been playing that'll have kind of undercurrent of this are all from Genealogy of the Holy War, and we're going to play out to the Versus Julius theme, because Julius has a good battle theme that I really enjoy. It's a good one. Like I just said, like 3 or 4 times. Anyways, that's all I got. Catch you next week. Hopefully the energy, hopefully my decisions for how I'm doing things will keep things going along. And part 6 should come out sometime this week. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Woohoo! Yay! Finally. It's only been 8,000 years. Oh, good gracious. Anyways, that's it. Thanks. Have a good one. Toodles.